Jonathan Clarke. He's a blogger in St. Louis who also does news analysis for the website Politics in Color. Jonathan, I watched the whole video, and quite honestly, there's a lot of wrong on both sides here. Some of the protesters were calling for violence against Darren Wilson. Some people said they wanted him dead, things of that nature. Obviously, the other side had different views on that. From your standpoint, what do you make of this clash between Cardinals fans and St. Louis protesters? It was definitely heated.
Yeah, Michael, there were a lot of parts in motion. There were many parts in motion and a lot of pieces in play in that protest that we saw the other night or last night. You know, one of the things that I can certainly say that as a person of color and as an African-American man, I was really concerned, really disturbed by the level of hostility coming from some of those fans, and some of the things they were saying were simply ugly and nasty and really had no place in this conversation. But by the same token, I was actually equally a little bit disappointed by the protesters who didn't seem prepared for this protest. They must have known that there'd be this sort of reaction. They must have known that there'd be this sort of ugliness, and they really had no right allowing themselves to get dragged into an ugly confrontation like this. I don't know whether that really moved the cause any further forward, and it allowed them to just allow the entire conversation to devolve into a place where it really didn't need to be.
You know, we've always been told that two wrongs don't make a right. And so even if the fans were a little upset at some of the things the protesters were saying, the thing that stood out to me is how quickly some of these fans went to racially insensitive remarks about Africa, and the fact that these fans, allegedly speaking for maybe whomever, white America, I guess, gave these black people the freedoms that they have now. What does that say about the underlying current of racial tension that still resides in the St. Louis area?
Well, it's not just the St. Louis area, first of all. It's, you know, what we saw there is symbolic of what surrounds the Michael Brown matter, but it's also symbolic of the conversation and the collapse of discourse that we see on a nationwide basis. You know, one of the things to be aware of is that fan base that we saw there really represents, that really is the face of flight from the urban core that we've experienced in this area. And so those are the faces of the people who left the urban core, or certainly the children of those people. And in many respects, they are going to comprise a healthy chunk of the jury pool that, again, winds up being selected here. If this case comes to court. And so that's the breakdown that we're looking at.
John, let me ask you one more thing real quickly. There was also a protest recently at the St. Louis Symphony, and now you had this incident last night outside of Busch Stadium. But from what we have gathered, there hasn't been that much reporting on these particular incidents in St. Louis. Why is that?
Well, I think the more important thing than the reporting in St. Louis is that the audiences that are needing to hear this are starting to hear this. So that was one audience there, the audience that represents the flight from the urban core. The other audience, that sort of high society audience that you might find at the Symphony Hall. These are both two audiences that are able to go back to their enclaves and basically look away and not pay this any mind. Well, the protest has been taken to them, and they've had to pay attention.
So the tensions resume and continue in St. Louis. We'll see how long those will last. Jonathan Clarke joining us now from St. Louis. Thanks so much.
Certainly.